So yesterday I laid into Zoom info pretty hard, right? And based on the number of DMs I got from people in that particular community, I'd say most of what I said hit pretty close to home. Well, later that night, my dear friend, the one and only Liam Moroney, posted something that I wanted to share. For a long time, there was what felt like a professional veneer in how people spoke about vendors in the marketing community, largely because of how deeply interconnected this whole space is. And at times, it felt a little too saccharine because it was only socially acceptable to talk each other up. And he is absolutely correct. It was almost seen as taboo to criticize, well, anything, especially on LinkedIn. For the longest time, there was this underlying unspoken vibe where no one wanted to say anything negative for fear they would be seen by others in a negative light. He goes on, I'm seeing marketers expressing much more blunt feedback about vendors they don't like, even tagging those vendors without concern. It's especially true for bigger tech vendors, and it's even causing full-blown PR responses now. But one thing's for sure, it's a lot more direct, it's a lot more authentic, which brings out all sides of the human condition. Liam and I actually have talked about this a lot, and after reading this particular absolutely beautifully written post, I of course commented, "Say my name," because that was pretty obvious, right? But the bigger picture is pretty clear. Someone later commented under my comment, "So honest question, since I've organically come across your content and indeed noticed you're quite unafraid here, how are you personally, A, organizing your LinkedIn usage so you don't get sucked into the dopamine of conflict, and B, avoid getting caught up in your own brand becoming a gimmick of criticism?" I love these questions. Absolutely love these questions. They're extremely thoughtful, and quite honestly, I think about them all the time. And here's what I said. I've long since been an advocate of disillusioned marketers since starting demand gen therapy. I'm also extremely self-aware about the fine line that I walk, mainly in tone and messaging. But nothing I do has ever been done with the intention of accomplishing anything other than speaking truth to power and weaponizing my radical candor for the greater good. And that brings me to this. So while I was trying to figure out all this vendor community stuff and how I really felt about it, I ran across another contest being promoted by yet another brand. As it turns out, HockeyStack was promoting something they're calling the Labsverse contest. I immediately thought, great, here we go again. But it took me all of 3 seconds to realize that what they're doing was actually really different. So if you're not familiar, HockeyStack actually produces like really amazing B2B benchmark reports. They call them HockeyStack Labs. Let me tell you, if you haven't read these reports, number one, get your life together. And two, I'm not exaggerating when I say that I've read every single one of them, and hands down, some of the best B2B content being produced today by a country mile. And so to get their community to engage with them, here's what they're actually doing for this contest and what you have to do to win. Pretty simple, actually. Answer a short quiz with 15 multiple choice questions about marketing. That's it. That's all you got to do. Now, here's the really clever part. You could, of course, answer the questions right away if you know the answers, sure. But if you need some help, guess what? The answers to these 15 questions can be found in their lab reports. That is so good. So I said it's a contest, right? So you would assume there's a prize or prizes, whatever. Sure. Now, given what we talked about previously, my hopes were not that high. They're giving something away to a randomly selected person amongst all the folks with the highest scores on the test. So want to guess what it is? They're giving away a Tesla. Did you hear what I just said? They're giving away a Tesla. Siri, how many $75 gift cards do I need to buy a Tesla? Let me ask you this, okay? Is HockeyStack a $1 billion publicly traded company?
No.
But they still wanted to make it very clear to their audience and their community that they respect and value them?
Yeah.
Before we go any further, just for all the people that are going to lose their minds, especially seeing this after coming off of yesterday's video, let me make something clear. They are not paying me at all. This is not sponsored. This is not a brand deal. I'm getting paid in no way whatsoever. I just think that the people that are doing things the right way, that value and respect their audience, deserve just as much, if not more, recognition than those who are not. Did you approach me about making any kind of deal to post this? Am I getting paid?
Nah.
Thanks, Jen Berk. I randomly saw their post and immediately started laughing my ass off because this is exactly how you foster a community. There's no captive audience. There's no exploiting them for content and promotion and using them as your own sales force. This is pure, uncut value. And if you go look at their post, people are lining up in droves. The engagement is insane. And most importantly, it's positive. It's genuine. It's authentic. What they're doing is not building a community. They're engaging their audience and giving away as much value as humanly possible and asking for nothing in return. If you want to foster a community, that's how you do it. You provide value, you respect your audience, you listen to them, and then you shut your mouth and let the magic happen organically. You don't try to manufacture a false sense of belonging and community only to exploit them later. So if you're a brand that's been playing around with the idea of a community-led motion of any kind, just remember this. It might just turn out that the best way to foster a community is to not build one.